Hello again, my fellow darklings and enthusiasts of dark fiction. Once again, I am Sky Revelis, a writer of sorts. Today, you're going to be watching Act 1 of Self-Reflection. Dark fantasy is the genre for this one. A story about a man who falls in love with his reflection, and then goes the way of narcissists, so to speak. And beyond the mirror, that is where the story really begins. After death, he learns the truth behind the cosmos and the brutal realities that exist in all facets of existence. This one is a doozy. January 23rd, 1862. Every day in crystal clear reflection, you are there. Looking at me, I saw your eyes meet mine, and I stared in wonder at this self beyond my reality. Some people may think me mad to want to befriend my own reflection, but I know there's something more. I can see you smiling at me in a way that's all your own, and more than just a copy of myself. So I won't be surprised when you properly introduce yourself to me in the flesh. Nathaniel George Evermore. January 24th, 1862. It happened today. I heard your voice. Your name is my own, but the letters are reversed. Lynaton. We chatted for several minutes after you introduced yourself to me. Lynaton and Nathaniel, like two best friends from parallel realities, or perhaps something more. You reached out your hand from a world beyond my understanding, and I took it readily as you pulled me through to the other side. Diary in one hand, and your hand in the other. I let you guide me into the mirror and beyond the single world that I had come to know. Nathaniel George Evermore. January 24th, 1862. As my skin touched the mirror, I held tightly onto your hand. You gave it a comforting squeeze as I began to pass through the wall of glass, and I felt gentle pinpricks on my face as I started to traverse its surface. I closed my eyes before pushing further through, and felt the cathartic acupuncture before feeling the glass turn to water, dripping down my skin. Lastly, a comforting warmth enveloped me just before I had completely stepped through. And when I opened my eyes, you were there, smiling at me lovingly. The same smile I had come to know all those years, and we wasted no time letting our smiles dance together at last in a passionate kiss. You didn't look like me, but I recognized you just the same. It was our souls that had bonded so strongly before. And as I was staring into your adoring eyes, I almost lost sight of where I was. But then you asked a question which grounded me once more. I knew what must be sacrificed to come here. But what I had done only became that much more real when you asked what I would like to do first, now that I am effectively dead. Nathaniel George Evermore. Time is no longer relevant. Oh God, I really am dead. I knew I couldn't follow my reflection while alive, but what a way to go. What felt like cathartic acupuncture was really shards of glass from the mirror stabbing through. The water on my skin was actually my own blood splashing against my face, and that gentle warmth was my oil lamp setting my room ablaze and burning my corpse with it. As tears streamed down my face, you embraced me and told me that I'll have a better time here than I did on the other side, the world I used to know. You said you would have never brought me here if you didn't love me, and you sat me down on a nearby bench as I processed the last moments of my mortality. I lay my head on your chest, and you caressed my arm softly, and as you held me, you decided there are some things I should know before we could continue. I was grateful for your empathy, and if even possible, my love for you grew even stronger at that very moment. Nathaniel George Evermore. Time is irrelevant. It all makes sense. Narcissus had a similar experience without the fire and blood. He starved to meet his lover on the other side. Apparently, there are 5 ways your reflection can interact with you, all depending on how you treat them. Number 1, they can simply not interact with you, as is most common. Number 2, they can talk to you like a faint whisper in your mind if you talk to them. Number 3, they can trade places with you if you are mean to them and if they want to ruin your life. Number 4, they can kill you outright if they deem you to be a monster. And number 5, they can spirit you away should you consent to leave the mortal world. On the other side of mirrors are the gods of introspection and reflection, and they either help or harm the living, depending on how we treat them. Nathaniel George Evermore. Time is eternity. It broke my heart to see you so shattered, Nathaniel. You felt so lost and had so many questions, and I felt so out of my depth. I asked you to come with me because I needed the help of 2 of my closest friends, Eftihis and Sympathy. I asked Eftihis if I could tell you who he once was, and I asked if he could share his story since his fate was similar to yours. And with as much compassion as I expected from my good friend, he agreed to tell you the tale of how he died, a time when he went by a name he no longer considers his own, the truth behind the story of Narcissus. Lainetan Ekrik Erumrev.
Time is forever. Yes, my name was Narcissus, but that name is dead to me. It has been bastardized and disgraced. It is a name now associated with tragedy, foolishness, and the disorder known as narcissism. Like you, I had no friends, no family, and everyone thought I was insane. Sihitfe at the time went by Sisikran, but that name is dead to him now as well. Anyway, I wanted to die. That is a major difference between us. You wanted a friend or something more. I wanted death. My drowning in the river was supposed to be my suicide, but Sihitfe talked to me before I made the plunge. That is why I stopped to look at my reflection before drowning myself, and why I starved while talking to my reflection instead. My enemies spun it to be a tale of conceit, and my old name went down in infamy. After coming here, however, I no longer wanted to die, and I felt happiness, or ευτυχία in Greek, and so I changed my name to Eftihis. And as a sign of his love, as is customary here, Sisikran changed his name to Sihitfe, and we've been happily together ever since. I'm glad that Lainetan finally found his other half, but your death was so brutal, Nathaniel. It's no wonder you are so discombobulated. But you're here, and we 3 will help you to acclimate to self-reflection. You may consider dropping your middle name though. Your mother was kind and she named you Nathaniel, but your father was a malakas, an asshole. You shouldn't bear his name. I like the name that you made for yourself though, Evermore. I shall make mine Panda, an adorable creature in English, and the word always in Greek. Ευτυχής Panda.
Time is confusing. I spent the rest of the day talking with Eftihis. Sympathy and, of course, Lineton were also most welcome company, but it was mainly the catharsis of talking to someone who could relate to my experience that helped me to gather my thoughts and get my bearings. I love the idea of Panda as a last name for Eftihis, and Atnat for Sympathy is also fun. I took Eftihis' advice and dropped my middle name, and naturally, so did Lineton. As the discussion continued, it soon evolved into a full-way friendly conversation about more mundane topics. Before Lineton decided to give them both some privacy and brought me back to his home. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. The whole concept of an afterlife is mind-boggling to me, so I never considered having a house, nor would I understand how it works. Lineton chuckled at my confusion, kissed me on the cheek, and we stood outside of his front door, to a home shining in resplendent gold. He turned the handle, and I readied myself to see what was inside. But the existential exhaustion finally kicked in at that moment, and he deftly caught me as I passed out in his arms instead. Nathaniel Evermore. It has been an immeasurable amount of time since the events before my death, so I should probably give you a recap before we venture further into the cosmos. My name is Nathaniel Evermore, and my life ended sometime in my early 20s because I fell in love with my reflection and decided I wanted to traverse my bedroom mirror to join him. Lineton, the name of my reflection, made my death surreal and painless, passing through the mirror as if it was simply water, as warm light touched my skin. But in actuality, I had smashed my face hard against the glass, leaving several shards in my flesh. I started bleeding out, and then I knocked over my oil lamp, which burned my house down along with my corpse. I then met Lineton face to face, embraced him, and kissed him passionately as he welcomed me into a world beyond our mirrors, known as self-reflection. I soon realized the brutality of my death, which caused an existential crisis, and Lineton comforted me as best as he could, and then introduced me to Eftihis, his good friend who once went by Narcissus. After talking with Eftihis and his other half, Sympathy, for a while, I was able to calm down. Lineton walked me to his home, and just as he was about to open the door, the existential exhaustion kicked in, and I fainted. Lineton deftly caught me in his arms, and that is where the story will continue. Time is strange. I woke up in a bed with sheets the color gold, in the arms of Lineton, who was still sound asleep. Gentle twinkling lights, also of gold, were scattered about the room, mimicking a sort of royal starlight. I felt so at peace, and I drifted almost immediately back to sleep. I have so many questions once I wake up, but for now, I will just lay here, dreaming, if that is even something I can do anymore, in the arms of my love, Nathaniel Evermore. After Nathaniel had passed out in my arms, I brought him inside and lay him on my bed to sleep. I was going to leave him be as he rested, but even in his sleep he reached out to me. And so I lay with him, and he started to try and wrap my arms around him. So I happily obliged, and soon I fell asleep too. After I woke up, I gently removed his arms from around me, and lovingly watched him sleep, waiting for those beautiful eyes of his to open. And that is where the story continues. Time is an illusion. I waited for Nathaniel to awaken. As his eyes opened once more, I looked at him with pure adoration. I slowly tried to move things forward, going at his pace, but trying to also experience more than just a gentle kiss or a warm embrace. And as he consented to each advance, I showed him a passionate new kind of paradise in response. He truly is my other half, and we both moved perfectly in sensual harmony to prove this fact further. It seems he needed this just as much as I, and he seems much more serene now as a result. Compassion, love, and intimacy seem to be effective cures for existential discombobulation, and it is truly nice to get to have someone so dear to me in my arms. I lay there with him for a good while after the pleasure had reached its peak, and I told him how much more there is to tell him, and how much more there is to see. But I warned him that it's not all happy and blithe. He nuzzled into me and said he was ready regardless, and I just kissed him again before falling back to sleep. I am so in love with this man. For now, we'll continue to rest, but when he wakes up again, I'll show him the unpleasant side of this realm. Self-rejection. We'll get that place out of the way first. Linatan Aramrath. I'm going to be brief with what had last transpired. I made love to Nathaniel. We went back to sleep. We woke up. I told him about a place called Self-Rejection, and then we made our way over there. The story continues mid-walk to a place that may resemble some of your nightmares. Time is fragmented. We walked beyond the places strewn with light of shining gold, and reached the line of self-divide. The golden light of self-reflection does not mix with the crimson light of the realm beyond the welcoming side. Self-rejection is a prison to those who have abandoned and tormented the self, but a harmless location to any of the inhabitants of this realm. Despite my warnings, this side of self-duality is hard to deal with the first time you see it. Self-reflection is ethereal and bewitching, but self-rejection is foreboding and fear-inducing. It is up for debate if the light from both sides would be more or less disconcerting if they blended together at the place where they meet. As we approached, Nathaniel became understandably nervous. I explained that both sides make up the whole, and that he is perfectly safe to cross over to the other side of ominous red. I also told him one of my roles here, which is that I am the head of an organization called the Suicide Assassins. He stared at me in disbelief, but seemed a bit too scared to ask me to explain. I expected as such, but I'd rather him find out about these darker sides of me sooner than later. He stayed close to me as we crossed over to self-rejection, and without delay, one of my subordinates approached me with news to share. Nathaniel looked terrified as Nexius revealed this information. But the sooner he learns about this side of self-duality, the better. Linatan Aramrev.
Here's what happened in the last entry of this journal. I should remind you that the only reason you have access to this information is that you were given clearance by Skyrevelis. Anyway, I returned to Self-Rejection for a mission report, and I saw organization's leader, Linatan, standing with a cute, handsome, pretty thing, hiding his face timidly in his arm. and so I walked over to give him my mission report. And this is where this journal entry will begin. Time is of the essence. We found a high-profile Vodian cultist. The one who went by Lazarus was seen turning a young woman inside out in front of a mirror. I was unable to fully intervene before she died screaming in brutal agony, but I made him dismember himself at the mirror shards through which I had witnessed the heinous deed. If we act quickly, we may be able to catch his accomplices, but I acknowledge that you were busy at the moment, with the gentleman hiding his face in your arm. He must be the one you were telling me about. Cute. Congratulations. Anyway, we'll get it done. And as for that confused boy sitting over there, I'll slit his throat before I leave. He doesn't need to be here. His reflection was a right bastard for pulling him through. I'll deal with him firmly after I give that boy a necessary final courtesy. May he have better luck in his next life, or peace in his own great beyond. And may we be successful in our mission to eliminate Lazarus's accomplices. Nexius.
The truth was bound to get out at some point, and honestly, the sooner the better. Last diary entry, my subordinate Nexius informed me, and Nathaniel by proxy, that the Vodian cultists had struck again, and shared his next plan of action. Poor Nathaniel looked confused and terrified, and kept hiding his face on my shoulder, scared and shaking. Nexius continued to make his report cold and procedural as always, and although I did listen because of the gravity of the situation, I desperately wanted Nexius to just go away and to stop scaring my love. Nexius did walk away from me after sharing all of this information, and then he raised a knife to the frightened little boy, and Nathaniel silently cried while still hiding in my arm, as Nexius moved in closer to do what must be done, and in response, Nathaniel pushed me away from him, still silently sobbing and shaking. Today, who I am is laid bare before you. I reached out for you pleadingly, Nathaniel, as you backed away from me, instead frozen in silent horror as Nexius slit that boy's throat before once again leaving the ominous red of self-rejection. It is better that you learn the truth sooner than later. I have not once lied to you. The two halves of self-duality make up the whole, and you are safe here, I promise. Nothing has changed since yesterday, and I still love you. I still want you by my side. But although I pose no threat to you, I will admit that I do pose a great threat to many. I will gladly tell you more about what I do, but I need you to calm down first, please. Your fear and panic is understandable. You've only recently died via glass shards and flame. Now your entire world as you once knew it has been flipped upside down. You now know that I am the head of an organization known as the Suicide Assassins, in addition to playing the part of a guardian. You've also seen that I am unfazed by murder, and you've witnessed the throat being slit of a boy who was not too much older than you were when your mother was killed. But I swear that this is all necessary. The living cannot exist in self-duality, and only death can free a being trapped here. The Vodian cultists you heard mention of can't harm you here, and we are actively working to cull their numbers. I can see you at war with yourself, whether to run away from me or to me, but please, let me explain. Let me hold you in my arms once more, kiss you and tell you that everything will be alright. I'll answer all of your questions. Just please, I'm begging you, don't leave me. I'm still yours. I'm still the same Linoton. In the last journal entry, I watched in silent, frozen terror as a young boy's throat was slit by Linoton's subordinate, Nexius. I pushed Linoton away from me out of fear, still too scared to move, and still sobbing silently while shaking profusely. Linoton started to cry too, because it hurt him to see me like this, and he begged me to let him explain and to let him hold me in his arms once again and comfort me. But I was so scared. My world as I knew it was gone. My mind felt shattered, and I had never seen that side of Linoton before, cold and motionless, as he watched the murder of a young boy, committed by someone who worked under him. It was too much to handle, and I felt like, once again, I might faint. Time is gone. I stood there shaking, staring at this man who said he loved me, but still too afraid of what I had just witnessed. He was on his knees, his hands covering his face so I couldn't see him falling apart, but I could hear him. The muffled sobbing of a broken man, a genuine sign of pain and longing, and I felt torn. I felt as though I were the line of great divide, standing in between reflection of everything that this man has said to me, and rejection of everything I once knew. My head was spinning. My death, the boy's death, and my mother's death were all racing through my mind in a moment of delirious epiphany, demented phantasmagoria, and maddening cacophony. I tried to push through the disorienting sensations and make my way back to him, but my vision kept cycling through so many brutal and vivid scenes in rapid succession. I took a couple of steps forward, holding my head, and Linoton was now looking at me with tears still streaming down his face as he was slowly getting back to his feet. But when he saw me scream and tears of blood start falling from my eyes, his sadness was replaced by panic as he raced towards me as fast as he could. Things I remember before my soul died for the first time were the images in my vision changing faster and faster, now obscured a bit by drops of blood. Hearing muffled screams from Linoton as he screamed my name as he ran towards me. The feeling of blood dripping down my neck from my ears. Everything going black, and the familiar embrace of Linoton as he caught me in his arms once more. Nathaniel Evermore.